This is the finale episode of Korra, plus all the other episodes we missed.
So let's just get right into it, because we missed a lot. Go!
Hey, this is Tessa.
I'm Mark.
And the overview is that Korra was useless. She had to go to see the airbender that she put in prison to hold her hand and walk her through the spirit world, who he had no motivation to actually do that. I don't really understand why he suddenly decided that Kuvira was a threat and that he should get involved and help her, but he did hold her hand and walk her through the villas and the valleys and, you know, sweet talked her. So
I have a little tip about that. So you can, as the avatar, can give and take bending away, and you capture the enemy that up until Kuvira caused you the most turmoil and pain and suffering, that took you 3 years to get over, who you had to go back and help. Why didn't you take his airbending away?
But that should be obvious. She can't. She has no control over her avatar powers. That's why she went crying to the enemy to help her out.
But even still, after she got herself back and she was like, okay, I'm over it, and you know, I'm rejoined with Rava now. Why didn't she like, oh yeah, so here, for more punishment to what you did to me, I'm taking your airbending away?
Because again, she still didn't have that power. I mean, clearly when there's that disturbance in the spirit world and Jinora was just like, don't you feel that? No, not at all. I'm dead inside. Korra just falls short. They just give her OP powers so that she can defeat the enemy at the end, but really she had that BS epiphany at the end where she's just like, I realize that I need to be a better person and I need to feel this way, and you know, I experienced this for a reason, and it's just like, yeah,
that was bullshit. Right? I'm sorry. When she said that, I was like, oh, me and Kuvira are a lot alike, and you know, all this and that. I was like, no, that's straight up bullshit. No, right. No. You had sympathy. That was your problem for 4 seasons. You liked sympathy. Right. Which brings me to this point. Up until Zahir, she was like, I'm going to kill my enemies. Batu has to die, who technically I guess she did kill, kind of, when she dispelled, you know, the spirit and killed Ulok in the process. She said Amon, you know, was supposed to die, but, you know, he did die, but not by Korra hands. And, you know, apparently I was like, okay, well, she's clearly going to kill Zahir. That didn't happen. Then she's like, well, Kuvira has to die, and that didn't happen. So I'm like, this compassionate thing, like, that was the one thing I liked about Korra, was that she was like, I'm gonna kill you.
Even though she didn't.
Even though she didn't.
That was just hot air to me. And it was hot air now, and it was just a waste of air and space. Everybody else at least had a role, but Korra was just like, and she had the nerve to get upset that Sue didn't have faith in her. Like, Sue was just like, oh hey, you're gonna fight Kuvira? Because last time that, I mean, not that you can really talk, Sue, but right. Yeah, you know, is that really a good idea? I agree. We did find that the prince was actually, or king, was actually useful in evacuating people. And, you know, his singing got the badger moles. I was really amused by that because he was a throwaway character from the get-go. But right. The fact that something good actually came out of it was a bonus.
I feel like with Prince Wu or King Wu, he was only needed for the coronation episode, which was about him, and this one segment in the finale. Other than that, any other time he's been on camera, been on the show, was completely pointless. So I feel a bit indifferent. Although I do respect him a lot more because of Badger Mole thing. I'm like, you were just a complete waste of character, except for that one episode where you advanced the plot.
So, you know, Bolin, he picked up his weight the last 3 episodes. Oh, but
who he was about to have that spiritual,
I was.
No, he didn't moment, so go there. I want you to go there.
Okay, so I just remembered the biggest pet peeve was the ambush at the end. See, they spent this time to plan and say, okay, we have these hummingbird machines that can cut into Kuvira's giant mecha. But first, we need to send in everybody to ambush at the same time so she's distracted while the little hummingbirds do their job. Tell me why everybody attacked. Like, Varric and Julie didn't come, and Asami, they didn't come to attack until after the rush was done and everybody was crushed. So what was the point of doing that if they weren't for cover? Because then, just like they had said before, here's Kavira swatting at them like flies, and that's why somebody died. I mean, what was the point of planning that entire scene, planning it, and then just saying, fuck it, you go first, and after you're squashed, go with the hummingbirds?
Yeah, that was pretty dumb. It made for a really interesting scene. Although, here's my pet peeve about this. You got this giant 40, 50-story mech attacking your city, and you have a lava bender who lava bends, you know, the earth underneath 1 foot.
Right.
Alright, I'm no chemist, but I did take chemistry in high school, and I understand that lava, which is hot, can melt things like platinum, which has a melting point of like under 2,000 degrees. I'm assuming lava is hotter than 2,000 degrees.
Right.
Why didn't that play any correlation into it? Another thing, I understand that, okay, so the outside of the mech is platinum, and Kavira's using metal bending to bend the joints on the inside. Very cool, by the way. And, you know, that prevents from the other metal benders from outside going in. Like that. So with that said, again, Bolin, why didn't you just lava bend the whole section that the mech was in and just let that happen right there? How conveniently, once they destroy the mech, the orm cannon gets launched into the spirit.
Yeah.
The spirit vines. And I'm like, yeah, that's gonna bring up some point later on.
Yeah, that made absolutely no sense that it just went all the way over there with their neon Evangelion looking mecha.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I kept wondering, like, Kavira, I know it was charged by the spirit tree, but Kavira was doing all this bending back to back to back. Where was her energy, her personal energy? Because she was doing it by herself.
Right.
That logistically didn't make sense. That she just could endlessly be doing all this bending. Just, it doesn't. This whole thing was just gas. All gas, because you know how many people died in this entire war with all these cannon beams and whatnot, and these super slow people.
2.
Who was the second one?
Oh, I'm going back to the Earth Queen. But
no, I meant these episodes.
Then just one.
One person died. And you know how bad those cannon beams were? They walked it out. Every time those damn cannon beams came, here comes the airbenders. Let's walk over into this alley over here.
Yeah,
let's
by
walk
the
to
way,
safety.
I don't understand that. So it explodes.
Right.
The core explodes because of Mako fuckery.
Right.
And everybody survived. I'm like, there's no way in hell you can duck underneath a cover in an alleyway, and it creates a crater this big that clearly you're a part of.
Right.
But you survive. Asami survived. The airbender survived. The airbender should have been wiped out again.
Yeah. All it did was just cut it clean in half. It didn't do any damage. Just walk it out.
Sue should have died.
Oh yeah.
There's no way. Like, even though she destroyed the arm cannon, that blast should have killed her.
Sue should have died. Basically, I would say at least 5 to 10 people should have died. A whole city of people, really, because they didn't finish evacuating.
Right.
Apparently, the city is only about 20 people that was following the badger moles and such.
Right.
But disregarding that, I mean, I really think the writers just sat down and said, okay, everybody dies. Except for you, soldier number 1, and you, soldier number 2, and you, Kavira, and you, Korra, and not that guy. Oh, just Asami's dad.
Yeah. But everybody else gets to live, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was a death flag when you let the guy out of prison that everyone hated or forgot about, and then let him make up with his daughter, who had been struggling with that for a whole season or 2.
The fight in the last episode of the finale with Kavira and Bolin, all of them, excellent. I liked it. Kind of mad, you know, Korra's like, I'm not going to use all the elements. I'm only going to use 3 or 4 elements at any given time instead of all of them. I didn't understand that at all.
I thought that it was, you know, it was impressive for her, but again, Kavira's over here bending this metal and it looked so much cooler, and Korra was just coming at her with these basic elements.
Right.
And I just had the overwhelming thought that she was underperforming.
Yeah, I felt that a lot too. Like, even though Korra was metal bending with Kavira. By the way, what were those black orbs like?
Korra wasn't metal bending.
I thought at one she was.
No, she never metal bent.
So Korra doesn't metal bend in this fight at all for some stupid reason, which makes sense when you are the first metal bending avatar that you don't metal bend. Also, you only enter the avatar state once.
I mean, the finale, again, the only thing about the finale that made me happy were the Badger Moles, because I wanted them to make an appearance, and the wedding between Juri and Varrick.
Now, I do want to say something about that. I love that whole segment storyline between Julie and Varrick and them proposing, Varrick proposing.
Yeah.
It was so amazing. It was like, how would I imagine them proposing and getting married? Exactly how it happened.
Yep. Exactly.
Varrick got
right to the jump at the end.
Right. Varrick got down on one knee. Julie, will you do the thing? I was like, yes, you better do the thing, Julie. And then she was like, I imagined us fighting mechs and a Nazi dictator enemy when you proposed to me.
Right.
I was like, that bitch in love. That's how you know you love somebody.
I was the one who called it episodes ago that Julie had never betrayed him. I said it, no one else wanted to believe me, and here we saw.
I mean, she made it so clear, like, Varrick's an idiot, and I'm gonna go join Kuvira.
She knew that when she joined him. He'd been an idiot for years.
Now, here's my quarrel. So, all your enemies you fight, you have it out, you battle, whatever, you talk Kuvira into submission. After the Orm Cannon went crazy in the Republic City Spirit Wilds, and you sit there and have a heart to talk like, me and you are alike, you know, we're both determined, fierce lesbian women, and Kuvira's like, yeah, you're right, I surrendered. And then the army were like, hey, you still have an army, and you know, they're still willing to fight for the cause, but just because your defeat is over, like, I don't get that. But whatever, you know, Kuvira's like, hey, whatever, I surrender. I'll take whatever punishment the world gives me. I wonder what they gave her. Like, did they just lock her up indefinitely like they did Zahir?
I mean, they should. She's as powerful as Zahir with all that she was doing, powering that giant mecha. My final things with the finale were my issues. One with the son, Junior. The fact that Junior just gets away scot-free, gets his mommy to pat his head while he lays down and cries about Kuvira daring to try and shoot him. He is only remorseful that Kuvira tried to shoot him. He's not actually remorseful that he was willing to kill all these people for Kuvira, or that he even did this stuff. His one redeeming quality was when he saw that his sister was about to get hit by the beam, he said, oh no! You know, and so we know that he doesn't want to kill his sisters on purpose, but he did imprison his family and felt zero sympathy for them at all. I'm not cool with how Junior was treated. And secondly, and this is just maybe me from a visual effects side, but it kind of bothered me how they kept using the 3D camera in the episode, because I mean, it's 2D animation, and I know they can get a little dimension going on there, but I noticed there were some rotations that they were doing, and it just kind of warped the picture in a weird way to me, and I didn't particularly care for how it was animated.
My thing about the finale, and I guess the one thing I take away from it, is the last 20 seconds of the finale, where Asami and Korra are Varrick's and Julie's wedding, and they're just, you know, oh, I'm tired of all the monotony that's been going on, and I need a vacation. Like, yes, let's go on a vacation together to the spirit world. And they hug. I thought they was gonna, like, Asami was leaning in for a kiss. I was like, oh shit, they're going there. I called it lovers. Asami and Korra are lovers. So yeah, they had that little hug thing, and then, you know, the last scene, they're walking to portal, spirit portal, and they hold hands and look at each other in the eyes lovingly as they go through to the spirit world, and that's it. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, okay, first of all, I get it if it aired on TV, that's the ending that they will have to go with, but you're online only, you know your fan base is mostly adult anyway, and you're online only, you might as well went for the kiss. It was a cop-out, and it kind of ruined it for me. And that's how I envision the rest of the series. I mean, all of Korra is just Korra being a lesbian and her and Asami finally getting together.
All I'll say is, you know, I agree. That last scene definitely felt like the writer's nod in the way of, yeah, those two are together. Because that was a very intimate kind of pose that doesn't make sense for any other reason than Asami and Korra are come together. That does remind me of my last point. I totally forgot because whatever pisses me off. fuck you, spirit animals. All you spirits. I mean, I understand you don't want to get involved with human wars, but your asses are freeloaders. Y'all came to live in Republic City. And as soon as Korra came over, though hilarious, I too would have disappeared once Korra came over. But as soon as Korra came over and explained the situation, you guys were like, nah man, nah, we don't get involved. But y'all live there, right?
Right.
Y'all take over the buildings and put vines everywhere and shit. But y'all won't help out.
The spirits are freeloading hippies? Alright.
Right. But you don't want humans up in your world, right? Okay. I'm just checking.
So, with that said, let us know what you liked and didn't like about the Korra finale, and give us your take on the Korra series. As a matter of fact, the Avatar series in itself. What are things you would want to see if they were to reanimate the Avatar again?
And don't just give us that shit. Give us your likes. Give us your subscriptions. Alright?
I'm Mark.
For Tessa.
See you next episode.